Okay, so I picked up one of these WeBoost RV cellular signal booster. We do a lot of traveling coast to coast, and wanted something to make sure we had good signal everywhere we went. I had a tough time dropping the money on this, but I saw one on Amazon came up used for $100 off. So instead of the $4.99, it was $3.99. I figured I'll take a chance at it and we'll see how it goes for that discount. Well, when I got it, it looked like it was only about half opened. Hadn't even been used. It looks like somebody read the instructions and decided that it was too much work for them. So picked it up and worked great. So I looked online kind of to see what other people did with their installations, and I really couldn't find anybody that had done or showed the actual nitty-gritty of how they installed it. Kind of it was plug this in, do that, and then here's the results. So I wanted to do a video just to kind of help anybody else out there, give them some ideas on how they may want to install it for their camper. Maybe it'll help them out. So I'm in a 28-foot Jayco travel trailer. It's got bedroom up front, very standard layout, and then dinette here, and then the bunks in the back there. So very popular, very standard layout. So here's the box. A couple things on the sides. Lots of information on that. A lot of this is online, the pictures, so forth, kind of what comes in the box. I really wanted something that was mobile, so that we could use while we're driving, not just when we're parked. So I was really happy to see that this came with a DC adapter as well as the AC adapter. So my thought is, when I was installing this, is I wanted something that would be on and boosting our signal that we could use in the truck, in the tow vehicle, while we're driving down the road. I thought that'd be pretty cool to get a good signal the whole time we're traveling, not just when we're parked or at a RV campground or anything like that. I really wanted something that we could use while we're driving and traveling. I have a couple kids that like their internet while they're driving, helps it make the time go faster for them. And we put a lot of hours driving, so this would make it easier for them. So let me show you the setup I have now. Okay, so I'm at my storage location here with my RV. It's where I did a lot of the work, so it's pretty easy if you bring the right tools with you. But so I've got it mounted up on my ladder up there. That's very standard, basic installation on that, clips on, and then I ran the wires down the back. I have two coax cables there. One is the booster and the other is my satellite dish coming off the top. So then I bring those down over here, and the kit actually comes with this this piece right here, this little kind of protective cover for when you drill a hole into your RV. They recommend that you put a loop in it so that when water runs down, it drips off the bottom and doesn't go directly into your connection here. So I did that, looped it around the ladder, just kind of personal preference there. I really wanted it to stay down there. So the kit comes with these little sticky zip tie holders. They work great. Stick on and they hold really well. So the kit also comes with a 1-inch hole saw for you to drill right into your RV. So that was really nice. That it came with that, so really came with everything you needed. This was probably the scariest part for me, actually drilling a hole in it. Once I kind of got over that and realized that there's a lot of other holes in there, and as long as I seal it well, I'd be fine. So I got over that, drilled the hole, and it's turned out really clean, really easy. Don't have any concerns about how that's going to turn out. So I did put some silicone behind this rubber gasket back here and then stuck it to that. Used a drill with a tiny bit to get these to go into the fiberglass. That was difficult as well. Not something you can do with a screwdriver, so I did have to find a small bit. I wish this flange was a little bigger around here. These screws come pretty close to the hole that you've drilled your 1-inch hole, So this one actually down here didn't grip as much as I really wanted it to. These other twos gripped pretty well, but it's real thin fiberglass on this camper. I mean, maybe 1/16 of an inch thick, very thin, and you just can't really crank down on it and get as good of connection as I personally like. So if this ever comes off or gives me trouble, I'll buy a bigger flange that's got an inlet to it. I'm sure you've seen those, the ones that go on your roof for cable inlets and so forth, but for now I think this is pretty good. Got some nice RTV silicone sealed behind the gasket, sealed around it, and cable just slides in. So on the other side, which is inside my storage unit here, what I did is, once I had the cable in place, I took the silicone tube, took the top off, stuck it in the hole, and squeezed it and filled the hole up, the whole hole, with silicone. So I have no concern of any rain or moisture or bugs getting inside my storage unit there. So I feel pretty confident about it at this point. Okay, we'll see if this shows up here. So this is inside my storage unit. Got the cable coming in behind that little panel where the tail lights are, and the other coax cable for the satellite hookup comes in. So what I did is I tacked it along the top here, real nice, ran it across in there, and then in that little hole behind this panel. I did take this panel off, just a couple screws on the top and a little cleat down here on the bottom. Had to unscrew those, and then I was able to run it into the cabinet, which I'll show you in a little bit. But I'm a big fan of keeping the cables out of the way, keeping things nice and clean when I'm finished, so that I'm not always getting in the way, and it just gives it a nice finished look. So let's go inside and I can show you that side. Okay, so now I'm back inside, and I have the lid lifted up on my storage unit, kind of a pass-through, lets me go outside. So that's where the coax came in. It's into this cabinet, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then over here, I needed to get power to my WeBoost somehow, my DC power. Initially, I thought I could get it off the water heater, which is back underneath there, behind that panel, but I just couldn't find the right connections, and I didn't like how that was going to work out. So within this bottom bunk, there is a light. So I thought, okay, I ought to be able to come off that. Well, I couldn't really figure out, didn't want to spend a lot of time taking the cover off of these LED lights. So on the back side, I was able to pop off this cover. This is for the light and the fan inside my bathroom. When I take this out, it's just a hole. I was able to stick my finger in there and pull over the two DC wires and pull them out this hole right here. So when I did that, I made just a couple splice connections in that wire with the quick connect crimp-on connectors. Crimped on the wire, crimped on my red and my black that I wanted to use for my power. Then I fished those straight down. I was able to fish those down this wall here, the opposite wall, make a hole up at the top, so again out of the way, and then I ran the wires all along the inside here. Hopefully this focuses for you. And then ran it back into that same cabinet behind this panel right in here. So, and then from there, I was able to run it into this cabinet that's really kind of wasted space. So I thought, hey, this will be perfect to put my equipment. It's got some water hoses in it, but I'm not concerned about those leaking or anything. If they do, well, oh well. So within this cabinet here, if we can see this, I wanted a switch box so that I could turn this unit on and off, so it's not just constantly hooked into the hardwire into my DC and using power while we're driving down the road, or while we're not using it. So I hooked that this switch box up. Again, got it out at Amazon. I don't know, it was like 15 bucks, something like that. So at this point, it gives me some power in the back, a 12-volt adapter and some USB adapters, so the kids can plug their stuff in when we're not plugged in shore power, charge their devices, or we can plug in a fan or something like that. Also gives me the ability then is this first rocker switch I hooked up, turn on, and you can see it turns on the WeBoost itself. So just gives me some control on the power on what I want to do there. It's real easy to hook up, basically red to black, hook everything to it. Your 12 volt lead off of this goes on to the bottom rocker switch here, and then the ground from the WeBoost. Again, I just spliced using that same connector right here. I don't know if you can see that. Just a little splice connector right onto the ground, the main ground coming in to the unit. So these are the same adapters I used in the bathroom to get the power here in the first place. So crimp it on, real easy, and gets me my hookup. So okay, so then these are the components that I'm hooking up. You've obviously got the WeBoost unit. Right here, your main units. Got your cable coming in and then getting boosted, and then your cable coming out to the antenna that's included. I will say, it's just kind of a bonehead move on my part. At one point, I had those connections reversed, even though they're clearly labeled on here. Outside connection, outside antenna, and inside antenna. I hooked it up one time and I was getting no signal boost at all. It was like it wasn't even turned on. Well, it turns out because it really wasn't. It was basically reversed, boosting the signal outside. So just pay attention to that. So then you've got a little pigtail, comes off the back of your antenna here, and then the cable unit here. So my intention is to have all this in there, in my cabinet, sitting on there, and then put another hole coming out of this cabinet down here, so that then we can extend this cable anywhere in the coach when we're parked and boost, our signal wherever we are. So, but while we're driving, this will all be in that cabinet. So as far as Wi-Fi goes, when we're driving, I have one of these AT&T ZTE Mobily devices. I don't think you can buy these anymore. They're $20 a month for unlimited data usage. You get about 22 gig, and then they'll do the soft cap thing on you. But we really only use this when we're traveling or in the car, so we never really even hit that cap. We've come close a couple times, but mostly for summer when we're camping and traveling. I think there was some abuse on these, so people were buying them, using them at home, and AT&T just decided to not continue them. So get them if you still can. $20 a month, works fantastic while we're driving. So hooks into your OBD2 port in your car is the intention. I bought one of these adapters that has a USB power to it. I also have one for AC power, but in this case I'm using the USB port in this. Now these devices have a limit of 5 devices is all you can connect to them at a time, which for the most part has been good for us, but once in a while, the kids have an extra tablet, or I want to hook my tablet or phone to it. We've had to disconnect a device and connect another one. So not a big deal, but when we're traveling, we might just, for convenience, want to leave everything connected. So I bought one of these little mini routers from Amazon. You can see the model of it there. It's just a little mini router. You can get them with and without the external antennas. I wanted the external antennas because I want this to reach my tow vehicle. So bought this, and what this will do is it'll act as a repeater to this device. So you go into the web interface, you pick repeater mode, and it browses and it sees all of the available Wi-Fi access points that are available. So you could use it at a hotel or somewhere else, create a private network for you. Connects to this and then rebroadcasts it on its own SSID, creates a new NAT setup. So you've got internal IP addresses from this coming from this device. That way we can connect as many devices as we want to this, and it's got a better antenna or better signal strength, because this one won't reach to our tow vehicle, but this one will at this point. So I will at this point go ahead and hook this up and kind of show you how it works. Okay, so I got everything hooked up here, just kind of show you the results I'm getting. I just have this little app on my phone that kind of shows me my dB, and then a little graph, and then a percentage up there of signal strength. So so this is just Verizon connection right now. It's good signal strength. I'm in town, so it works pretty well. But even if that's the case, just want to kind of show you what this will do here. So I'm going to go ahead and flip on the booster, and we'll keep an eye on the signal strength there. And you can see it pretty much immediately jumps up to 100% signal, dB down to minus 75. It does boost the signal quite a bit better. And then I'll go ahead and shut it off here, and you just watch it immediately, or pretty immediately, it takes a minute, drop back down. So there's absolutely some gain to be had even when you've got a good signal strength, but it just kind of shows you what you're going to get when you're not in an area that might have very good signals. So it takes a minute to boot up, and boom, immediately. So it's absolutely does its job. I've seen this down to minus 70 or even 69 dB, so it does a really good job. Now I am about a foot away from that WeBoost. I'll notice if I back up here a little bit, you'll notice the signal strength drop. There you go. So my experience, you really need to be within about, let's go over here a little bit farther away from it. It's kind of tough to do here, but you see it start dropping off, and right now I'm about 5-6 feet away from the unit. So it does start dropping off pretty quick. They say you can be up to 10 feet away. Really, for best performance, I'm seeing around 4 to 5 feet. You need to really be within that antenna to get the boost signals. So let's do a little speed test here when I come back. Alright, so I kicked off a speed test here. Sorry I started the camera a little late. But so this is without the boost on, connecting to my little router there. Again, this is going through the AT&T Mobility with the booster off. So again, it's going to depend a little bit on when you run this and how you run this. But so this is straight off the Mobility connected to the router, and I'm connected to the router running this speed test. So I don't anticipate a big gain in any of this, since I have pretty good coverage in this area. A lot of this depends on the tower that you're connecting to. So yeah, I mean that's pretty good even without the booster on. So I'll go ahead and turn it on. And we'll give it a minute for it to kick on here. So again, I have that antenna with the Mobility right in my unit, or in that cabinet down there, so it's boosting the signal. So I'll go ahead and run this. So this should be a boosted signal. Yeah, it's about the same. I'm seeing anywhere between 5 and 8 up and down. Really kind of varies. I was in an area earlier, and it was a significant increase. Went from about 1 megabit up to about 7 megabit up, and download was increased by about maybe 3 megabits. So in this case, we're getting similar speeds on that. So, or bandwidth, I guess. Okay, I'll go ahead and run one more test here. So that's with the booster on. Go ahead and turn it off, run it again. What do we got? 5.5 by 9.5. So with the booster off, I'm down to about 2. By 7. So a little bit of an increase in performance on that. Like I said, I'm in a pretty good area here. There are a lot of apartments and condos in the area, so the tower could be a little congested. But overall, my experience has been, for the most part, I've increased in performance and signal strength, which you would anticipate. But with that type of signal strength already, you're not going to gain too much. But so once again, just kind of look at my final setup here, and I need to do some cleanup before this goes. But you know, I've got my booster there, and my AT&T Wi-Fi there, goes to the repeater, my little router there, and then the WeBoost comes in that right there. So hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thanks.